Between what we've lived through and what our day jobs demand, we've spent some serious time researching neuroscience. The pattern we keep seeing is the way we think shapes the way we behave. And over time, those behaviors shape our outcomes, often before we even realize we've made a choice.
So in that research of neuroscience, it opened the door to neuroplasticity, habit loops, stress responses, microdecisions, all the brainy stuff that explains why just try harder is a trash strategy. In this lab, we're rewiring habits one experiment at a time.
Welcome to I² Lab.
So I was reading another brain-based book again.
Always the brain-based books.
Always. And I came across this concept, and of course it made me think of our group, and I wanted to bring it up to you. It's called cognitive reserve.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of this?
Yes.
Okay. So it's the brain's ability to adapt and continue functioning well despite stress, aging, fatigue, injury, disease, all those things. It basically gives you multiple ways to think and react in situations. So I'll give an analogy for those that might not be as familiar with the term. Think of like a road system. You have City A has one major highway, and City B has multiple highways, side roads, alternate routes. So if there's an accident, City A that just has one major highway, everything grinds to a halt.
There's no other path.
There's
There's no
other
other
path.
way around. Yeah.
Only one way to get to point A to point B. City B reroutes traffic, keeps moving because there's alternate pathways, there's side roads. Things keep progressing, things keep working, they keep adapting and changing. So that's cognitive reserve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's essentially having a different way to do the same thing in your brain.
Absolutely.
And what you're saying is there's a different way to get to point A and point B by taking another route. But that's exactly what your brain does.
The same way, like the neural pathways in your brain too, you'll have multiple ways to accomplish the same thing or think of a solution because you have multiple tools basically, or multiple thoughts that you can use to get to the ultimate solution or to solve the problem. There's many, many things that build cognitive reserve, and it's simple. It's just neuroplasticity, essentially. It's learning new things.
And yeah, let's go into neuroplasticity for those who might just be jumping into this podcast
Right.
who haven't heard the
gazillion other ones where we've nerded out on neuroplasticity.
well, maybe there's maybe 30 other ones before that.
Yeah.
Not quite a gazillion.
Okay, 30 seems like a lot to me, but so yeah, it's when you learn something, and especially if you do something over and over again, it builds that pathway in your brain. It's familiarity. I cannot talk today, so it's so good that we're recording. It's that familiarity. And if you do something over and over again, the deeper the pathway gets.
Yes.
Essentially. But you can learn new things, and then new pathways will be built and developed, meaning you may be trying to accomplish the same task or the same thing, but you have different ways to get there.
Right.
So you don't have that one highway. You have multiple side roads, essentially.
This is why brain injuries can take a while to heal, but they can
Heal.
Maybe not. Maybe it depends what the extent was. But there are plenty of people I know that have had a brain injury, but it takes a while for that remapping to happen. That does take time.
But it can happen. There are people who are born, it's rare, but they're born with half of their brain wasn't developed, or there's something wrong with it. And many people never even find out or know because the other side of the brain was able to figure it out and compensate. Now they may have like certain bugaboos in life, you know what I mean? They may not be well in social situations or something.
Yeah, stimulus might affect them differently
Right.
than it could other people.
but it's possible that the other half of the brain could completely compensate and figure it out for them.
Yeah.
So other things that create cognitive reserve, learning new things like reading, solving challenging problems, meaningful social interactions,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was interesting because it kind of brought me to that Alzheimer's topic that we've talked about before.
Yeah. I've got a study for us to go into. That's what I'm thinking of when
Perfect.
you brought this up.
And that's what came up in the book too. So why don't you go into that study? Because
Okay.
that's interesting for those of us that read up on Alzheimer's.
So this is called, I don't know if it was called this, but I call it the Nun Study. So the Nun Study followed 678 Catholic nuns from the School Sisters of Notre Dame. Participants underwent annual cognitive testing and donated their brains after death for neuropathological analysis, which is awesome. 678 is a pretty good number,
Yeah.
too.
It's not anything to
The
scoff about.
study, I know, the study actually became famous because the researchers discovered something I don't think they were expecting to discover. Some of the sisters had brains that showed amyloid plaques, neurofibrillary tangles, Alzheimer's pathology. So there were physical symptoms in the brain of Alzheimer's.
Yes.
In some cases, pathology that would normally be associated with dementia, and we're not talking about just a little bit here and there, like, oh, there's some evidence. The level to which they were finding it should have been evidence that their day-to-day lives were affected
They should have shown symptoms in life, but did not.
Yet, during their lives, every one of them, their memory was intact, cognition remained strong, dementia symptoms never appeared. Or if it appeared, it was so like finite or benign that they didn't. I mean, I walk into a room today and I forget what I'm doing. So, like, it could have been as simplistic as that. Or it appeared much later than expected because the pathology was so advanced. And some of them, they would have expected the sisters to have been exhibiting this behavior for like 10 plus years because it was that same level that they were finding in other patients that had very severe symptoms. So one review of the study specifically noted some participants with Alzheimer's disease pathology did not exhibit dementia, like, at all. So the big idea is the cognitive reserve. This led researchers toward the concept of cognitive reserve because of that study. So like you said, if you think of cognitive reserve like money in a retirement account, two brains can have identical pathology. You have one that's exhibiting severe symptoms of dementia or Alzheimer's and one that isn't showing anything. There's memory intact, there's normal day-to-day, they're driving, they have freedom still. One brain has built more reserve, more pathways, more redundancy, more flexibility, more workarounds. When damage appears, that brain can continue functioning longer. Because it's like, okay, well, that bridge is down. We're just going to take this one because it's just right here. Not a big deal. So what the question is, though, that they were asking from the study is what built the reserve? So the Nun Study repeatedly found associations with early language complexity. The famous autobiography portion found that nuns who wrote with greater idea density, richer language, and more complex thought. And I'm talking about writing. They wrote it with pen and paper. Early
Which activates multiple parts of your brain.
Exactly. Early in life often had better cognitive outcomes decades later. And then there was the lifelong learning, which, if we're talking about the greater social connection, we're talking about you actually learn with synagogy, with multiple people sharing ideas, bouncing it back and forth, normal discourse, dialogue. Education and continued engagement appear to be protective, which is what you were just getting into. And then purpose was the other one. These women remained socially connected, intellectually active, engaged in meaningful work for most of their lives. Which brings me also to, there was another one I had heard about. It was recently on the Huberman podcast, and he talked about this concept of superagers. Have you heard of this? So superagers are people who are well into their 80s and 90s, but there's
little to no cognitive decline, and actually physically they're more free to do things than their counterparts that have cognitive decline, which I think they go hand in hand, to be honest. Because if you're able to walk around, freely do things, maybe you're not the most stable or whatever it is, but when you're able to get out and connect, there is still a purpose, there is still a connection. You are still learning things. So I think those two things go hand in hand. But what he had highlighted was how to increase your willpower and tenacity around, and it was later discussions with David Goggins around the anterior mid-cingulate cortex. So the anterior mid-cingulate cortex, I know we're getting a little nerdy here, and I promise this actually will bring this back around to weight loss because it does shake hands with it. The anterior mid-cingulate cortex sits in the region in your brain that's associated with persistence, effort, challenge, goal-directed behavior, tenacity. It's that like keep going circuitry. Huberman actually described it as the brain region that grows when you repeatedly do things you don't particularly want to do. So if you're somebody that actually likes to go to the gym, this isn't growing your anterior mid-cingulate cortex, if we're following the same logic. But if you don't particularly like going to the gym, it's something that you do find that's a little bit hard for you. Maybe it's not. This is the tricky part about it is it just needs to be something you don't like to do. You can't see it as like punishment. That it tips it into another realm. But if you actually are doing the things that you don't particularly just love doing, that's what grows. That it's almost like grows and shrinks like a muscle inside of your brain. So examples would be finishing the workout, getting out of bed. Sometimes when I wake up, I don't want to get out of bed. It's like if you think of the toddler version of you that and the things that you don't want to do, this might be the things that could help grow your anterior mid-cingulate cortex. Taking the walk, maybe when it's a little bit too cold outside and you're not going to be as comfortable as you want to be. Other days you do like to take the walk, but on that day, I'll tell you what, when it dips below 30, I don't love taking walks, but I do have plenty of clothes that I could put on to actually keep myself warm within a reasonable amount of temperature drop. Meal prepping. I don't always want to do it on Sunday, but there's some, I don't know if that one qualifies for me. This one does though. Saying no to an immediate reward. This is where I think as people who are on a weight loss journey and then going into even in maintenance, I mean, there's going to be things that you say no to. You can't say no to every chocolate chip cookie that there is or every ice cream sundae. You are going to have to say no to some things some of the time, even in maintenance. So saying no to the immediate reward. This is another one which doesn't have anything to do with weight loss, but having the difficult conversation is also one. We don't want to hurt people's feelings. We don't want to make people feel like crap, but I also don't want to let something fester that we could have prevented if we were kind enough to have the difficult conversation. In the discussion, Huberman highlights that athletes often show stronger anterior mid-cingulate cortex characteristics, which it makes sense to me. I'm sure, you see these people that they do love playing soccer or they do love playing football or they love playing basketball or whatever it is, but I'm sure they don't love getting up at 4 a.m. and, jumping right into a strenuous workout. I can't imagine they do that. They love doing that all the time. Superagers often preserve this region too. So these are the people who are aging with more cognitive reserve. They have more freedom. They don't have cognitive decline that their other counterparts that are the same age are showing, which that is shaking hands with the freedom that they can experience as well. So people who continually engage with challenge maintain function longer than those who withdraw from challenge and novelty. I thought the challenge and novelty was an interesting piece that we have to lean into. It's not just the challenge, but maybe it is I don't need to go to the gym, maybe I switch a gym day out for hiking. There is a bit of novelty in that for me. But so bringing this back around, and you probably have a link to weight loss as well with this, the anterior mid-cingulate cortex is not built by comfort. And I'm sure our group has heard this. I didn't come up with this, but and maybe I'll get it wrong as I'm thinking about it in the moment, but it's aging is the pursuit of comfort. I've heard maybe I'm getting that a little wrong, but something along those lines is that you're always looking for what's going to make me comfortable here. I'm going to sit in the air conditioning. I'm going to not do this one thing because my knees really hurt, or there's all of this comfort seeking that takes place. The anterior mid-cingulate cortex is not built by convenience. We're going to have to do things that aren't always convenient, aren't always comfortable, and then it's not built by waiting for motivation to strike. It is strengthened by voluntary effort. Get your butt up and go walk, whether you want to or not. Get your butt up and go to the gym. Even if you go to the gym for 10 or 15 minutes, do that one thing and then you leave. And that's it. Intentional discomfort, persistence in the face of resistance. I'm going to say that last part again. To persist in the face of resistance is what's going to build that. It's not punishment. It's not suffering. It's chosen effort. So for us, it's weighing the ranch. Maybe it is taking the scale with you to the restaurant, which isn't super comfortable. I'm not saying you have to do that to get to your goal, but maybe that's one thing you do. Maybe that's, you've never done that at this one place, and you're just going to do it once just to experience that. It's taking the walk when you don't really want to. It's drinking the water when you're like, oh, man, I can't drink another ounce today. Maybe it's coming into the community and posting. Maybe that's uncomfortable for you. And definitely this for me is sitting with the urge instead of acting on it. Whatever that urge is, whatever it stems from. If it's in the evening and I'm bored, I don't need to reach for something that I'm not really actually physically hungry for to abate that boredom. I can do something else. I can regulate a different way. Or maybe it's I've had a day, and you know what? Chocolate sounds really good right now too, because I've got a bit of, ruminating that I'm going on. I'm replaying this one conversation that I had over and over and over and over again, and I should have said it this way, or I should have said it that way. Sometimes just the heaviness and the weight of the day, all the decisions that you made, just kind of fatigue you in the evening too. So a lot of this is when people wrestle with it in the evening. So sitting with the urge instead of acting on it. And the urge really doesn't stay around for that long either. So those aren't just behavior changes. And I love this part. They're actually neurological reps, because it's strengthening the anterior mid-cingulate cortex, because I think all of us can be superagers. All of us can build this thing that you're talking about cognitive reserve. I think we need this especially as we're going into the later part of our lives and we're on a weight loss journey, because we're going to have to make some hard choices that maybe we haven't made before for this long. Maybe we have been in Weight Watchers before, and boy, we did really good for the 6 weeks that we were in it with our friends, but as soon as our friends dropped off and then the birthday party came around, that's when we stopped doing it. So I have a feeling people listening have been able to do this for a period of time, but it's once you've passed that threshold where it's even a little more uncomfortable than it was the first 6 weeks, that's when you're building the cognitive reserve. I think that's what you're getting to here.
Yeah, I think one thing that popped out to me when I was reading was that cognitive reserve doesn't necessarily prevent Alzheimer's disease from happening.
Right.
Like you said, then those brains were looked at through research. They still had all the pathways. The damage was there.
Yes, that's what's wild.
It's like the change, as you're talking about aging and as you were talking about making the hard decisions, like we're going to get older. We're going to age. We can't stop that. But that cognitive reserve definitely helps in the singular cortex that you were talking about. It definitely growing that. It helps save off it gives you the other pathways.
It gives you another road to take.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't see or notice or feel the symptoms because of that cognitive reserve, which is important to exercise. So I was thinking, relating it to weight loss, where my mind went was almost like, um, I think the book said this. I don't think this is quite in my head, but it equated it to like a toolbox. And if all you have in your toolbox is a hammer,
Mm.
and you see a nail and you want to hammer in the nail, then every problem gets solved with that hammer.
And that hammer isn't gonna do
It's
everything.
not gonna screw in a screwdriver. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's not gonna, but you're gonna try, and you're gonna take that hammer and you're gonna try to fix or find every solution, every problem, get to like the end of the task with that one hammer. So I was thinking a toolbox analogy for weight loss.
Oh my gosh, of course. The weight loss conversations are around the scale. I mean, what is the first thing you do when you need to lose weight? You get on the scale.
Yeah.
So it's the number on the scale. And then the conversations focus on calories, macros, protein, water,
Hmm.
all of those things. And all of it's important stuff.
Yeah.
And you
Like
need all of it.
you need to watch your sleep. You need a meal prep. You have the protein goals. You have the macros, the calories, as you mentioned. So you have all these tools in your toolbox. But if all you do is use one tool to lose weight,
Hmm.
and if that one tool breaks or it doesn't work that week or something comes up that you can't use it because it can't, it's like the hammer, it
Because you're
can't solve
traveling
every
and
problem. Yeah.
yeah, you can't, maybe your sleep is shot when you are traveling. So
Yeah.
that's the one thing that you can't do, but that doesn't mean you can't do all the other things
Those,
too.
yeah, you can lean on the other tools that actually
Yeah.
are useful for what you're trying to accomplish in
Yeah.
that moment. Um,
But also you can lean into the other tools I think we don't talk about in a weight loss conversation is building the metabolic reserve. So I'm building a body that is metabolically flexible, not just one that I'm going to restrict my calories and then once I hit that number, then I'm good to go. You need to build your body up so that you're constantly feeding the whole foods, that you're giving it everything it needs so that it can be metabolically flexible. So if you do go to the birthday party and have a cupcake, the whole thing doesn't come crashing down on
mhm.
you. Now, maybe you're somebody who needs to say no to that for a while for whatever reason. But I think it is the calories, the macros, the protein, the building, the water, the sleep. It's all of those things. Those are absolutely foundational. But it's that and building metabolic reserve. It's that and building cognitive reserve. And I would even add in emotional reserve all at the same time. And I know
That's
this is like,
important.
oh, I can't do all of these things. There's so many things they're talking about. But
That's
this
a
is
good thing, though. Like, you don't have to do all of them
no,
at the same time.
no.
That's impossible. Because some of them do compete. I was thinking of that too.
Hmm.
Like, you were mentioning, I don't want to get up early and I don't want to work out. Well, getting up early and working out is taking away from sleep. So
Yeah, exactly.
you can't do both
Yeah.
all the
I
time.
would say it's more important to sleep than to work out.
Work out.
If I had to pick one or the other and you were going to get quality sleep, I would rather it gets a little tricky.
Would you say it depends on what stage of your journey you're on, though?
It could. And if it's like one night of sleep that I lost maybe an hour of sleep,
Mm-hmm.
like I got 7 hours instead of 8, I don't think that's a hill to die on. But
Mm-mm.
I
I
don't
don't think
think you
so.
should repeatedly get 3 hours of sleep just to get your ass into the gym
Right.
either.
Every day
You're
either.
not
You don't
going to
need
be
to go to the gym every
building
day.
exactly. You're not going to be building the muscle with you have to have the sleep to actually build the muscle. Muscles aren't even built in the gym, you guys. And I'll tell you what, the gym is just the thing that keeps me out of the kitchen. It's not really
Hmm.
I mean, on the nights that I go to the gym, it's just keeping me out of the kitchen. Yes, I'm building muscle. Yes, I'm building endurance. Yes, I'm building all of the other things that come with it. But it's really not doing. I was just thinking about this the other day on the way home. I was like, the gym is just the thing that keeps me out of the kitchen. It's just
Hmm.
and it keeps me connected to the gym. It does other things than
It's
that.
almost like your new scale,
It
a little
totally
bit.
is, and it's taught me that
And I
it's
don't mean
the
that in a bad way. I
no.
mean, it's
Well, no,
an
because
extrinsic motivator, and
I'm
that's
an
fine.
addictive type personality, so I have to get addicted to something, and right now it seems like it's the gym,
Yeah.
and it's finding that like it's losing more body fat and gaining more muscle, but that's a really slow, long it's a slow, long road. It's a long game, and it's taught me that you also what's interesting, it's almost like I wish people could go to the gym to learn about weight loss.
Hmm.
People told me this crap for years, and of course I was like, gym people suck. But here I am, I'm one of them now. But it teaches you. I mean, if you aren't going to failure every time you're doing a, a weight a rep, you aren't really growing anything. And this is what's crazy about this is we don't want to fail at things. We don't want
Hmm.
people. I think that might have been one of the biggest reasons why I didn't want to go to the gym. And always said it was because I felt like I didn't belong there. I mean, nobody needs, who's 355 pounds and goes to the gym? And yes, there are people that do that, but I didn't feel like as somebody in that body that I belonged there. And what do I know what to do with those weights? I'm going to look stupid. I'm going to
Hmm.
be vulnerable, blah, blah, blah. I mean, now I'm somebody who, if it's like a really heavy weight and Mike is screaming at me, I'm screaming too because he's totally taking me to failure. And that's the point. The point is to not even hardly be able to lift the last rep. And I think there's a part of maintenance and weight loss that maybe you don't take it to failure every day.
Hmm.
But I do think you do need to take it close there because the pendulum has swung so far the other way for you that you need to feel what that feels like
Hmm.
too.
You need to feel what gaining a couple pounds overnight
Yeah.
is like, and to think back, is it just water? Is it just what I
It's
had last night?
I
What do I
didn't
need to do to adjust? So like those small
exactly.
little adjustments to stay
And put it into
within your
perspective.
range. Yeah,
You ate 500 calories over your
that's not a whole pound.
not
It's
even
not, it's like a
close.
fraction of it's nothing.
It's nothing.
It could be something.
It could
So
be.
watch it.
Yeah,
Watch it.
but let's put it
500 times,
500
it adds
times.
up.
Yeah, 7 days of that, then you have gained a pound.
Yeah.
But I think what the nuns taught us is that pathology doesn't tell the whole story.
Right.
That your brains could have been riddled with all of the things that was giving red flags that there was
Right.
dementia present, but that's not the whole story. And I think maybe our food environment doesn't tell the whole story either, because two people can have stress, two people can have trauma, busy schedules, food noise, people they're taking care of, things that come out of nowhere. Oh gosh, I got this. We have an individual in the group, and she doesn't talk about the stuff that she has going on, but it's no different than everybody else.
Hmm.
She has she was in the hospital because her son was there. That would have derailed a lot of people. She's now currently in maintenance as we're recording this. She's going through a bit of a maintenance phase, and she's killing it. She's like on her 4th or 5th week of it. So then she's going to go back into weight loss mode to finish out her last bit. But so she's putting in the reps now, but she has all of these things. So the environment doesn't tell the whole story.
Mm-mm. Well, and I think that's where people get stuck. If you think back to the toolbox analogy, a lot of people think, I just need willpower, or I just need a better workout,
Uh-huh.
or
Or
I just need Ozempic, or,
yeah,
I just
and
need this
I'm not
magical
knocking
drug.
that. Yeah, and I'm
I'm
not
not
knocking that.
either. But if you don't learn the lessons behind it, then
It's
it is
worthless.
just a Band-Aid,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
my opinion. But it's like the handyman with the hammer. That's
right.
all it is.
It is just another tool in the tool belt.
And it's going to fail. If you don't have the other tools, that hammer, that Ozempic, or what, I don't want to say Ozempic because I don't want to like
Any of the
harp on that.
any of the
of that.
GLPs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
anything, or just thinking like, I just need more willpower. If that's your tool, if you're thinking I just need more discipline, then that's going to fail, because that's not going to fix every single thing that's going to pop out at you. It's somebody with cognitive reserve for truly lasting behavior change is going to ask things like, what other lever can I pull?
That's right.
What other tool
there's
do I have?
That's right. There's behavioral flexibility.
Yes.
I'm going to do this no matter what. So what is the choice that I can choose? I think this is, and for those who are on a GLP, I don't knock that. I have a friend who, go ahead.
I was just saying, I think it's a great tool. It's a great assist.
It's a great, and this is how I described it.
I'm not on it, but I'm just saying, I think it's a great assist for those who are.
This is how I described it to the individual that has recently got on it, who pinged me and wanted to just kind of talk it through. And I was like, you don't treat this as the end all be all. It can't
It's
It
not your hammer.
it's not your hammer. It cannot do all of the heavy lifting, is what I said to her. I was
Mhm.
like, this is going to help you feel less hungry. This is going to help you with some of the addictive behaviors because it does hit some of the, we're starting to see in some of the research that's coming out that it is hitting some of those neural pathways for addictive behaviors. They're actually prescribing it now for individuals that do have addictive patterns. It's actually being prescribed for people who have sleep apnea now as well.
Interesting.
I know it's very interesting, but nobody's studied this drug
Yeah.
for these other things besides weight loss. So it is, how I described it to her, it can't do all the heavy lifting for you. So allow it to give you a leg up, but
Mhm.
that's it. Do not lean on it for everything because it's not going to work.
So that she can focus on what?
Yes, it's going to give you a bit of a breather. You're not going to be as hungry depending on what kind of dose you're on.
Mhm. So you can monitor your
You can start to
serving
change.
sizes.
Yes, you could start to put in the behavioral flexibility that you need.
You can start tracking.
You still have to track.
Focus on your sleep.
Yes, you
Yeah.
still have to eat
You
whole
drink
foods.
your water. You eat the whole foods. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
you're-
can focus on those things.
Yes. Don't have a bag of Cheetos, and that's what you have for the day. Because those are the individuals that are losing their hair, they're losing their bone, you're not being nutritionally satiated whatsoever. And
Yeah.
those are the individuals that when they do go off of it for whatever reason,
They still have all the bad habits because
Nothing.
they've been reinforcing all those bad habits all that
Yes.
time. They're still eating the Cheetos because I never stopped.
they never stopped.
And even if you stopped, I understand you still want to eat the Cheetos, but at least you weren't continuing. You know what I mean? You didn't continue to dig that neuro pathway even deeper into your brain.
That's just it.
At least you tried to get a side road going.
It's giving you a leg up just to be able to do some of the behavior changes to
Yes.
make you more behaviorally flexible, which is what you need.
Building the side roads. That's what I like that.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah, I think that because they're gradually, reserve is gradually built. And it's not about perfection. It's just about being consistent enough. So maybe there is a day that you did get sucked into, you had to go to the hospital for a whole day because you're supporting a family member, and all they freaking had, the best choice you could have got was a bag of pretzels. Maybe.
Which
That's
is actually
one day.
It's sadly true, and I don't understand why hospitals have so much junk food.
I don't know.
I don't get it.
Supposedly that's going to be changing with the food pyramid
Really?
because they're governed by
Oh,
the food pyramid.
okay.
But me and you haven't been
They
in a
need, like,
hospital for a bit, so I don't know if it has.
Meat stores
And
just stores of
schools.
protein.
Yeah. Anyways.
That'd be awesome. Well, yeah, you go ahead.
No, no, I think that was all I had to say about the GLPs. I could go on a rant about them for a while, but just it's not going to do all the heavy lifting for you.
It's a great tool.
It's a great tool. It's
one tool in your toolbox.
That's right. That's right.
I think the most resilient people, when we talk about resilience through our day jobs, like the most resilient people aren't those with the best strategy. And you've talked about this. You're like, I only have plan A.
Yeah, I know.
And then when plan A blows up,
I'm like, well, I don't have a plan B. What am
you're
I gonna do?
SOL. You know, it's the people who have the most strategies, the most tools in their toolbox so that they can choose path B, C, D, E, however many paths you have. Like you'll never run out. You just
Yeah.
got to make sure your toolbox is equipped.
Yeah. I think that the person who keeps the weight off and probably the person who keeps going, because I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again for anybody who hasn't heard me say it. The only way you do not get to your goal is if you quit. So the person who keeps the weight off isn't necessarily the person with the least temptation or the smoothest life or the most money. It's the person who repeatedly practices awareness, regulation, recovery, persistence when they don't want to do it until those pathways become stronger. And they're not. It's not that you're never going to be, like you said. It's not that you're never going to be tempted to have the Cheetos or whatever it is, but it's
pathway's pretty deep.
It's pretty deep, but it's less strong. You can
Yeah.
make the pull to those kinds of things less, and that's the point. Every time you sit with an urge, every time you take the walk, every time you say, you know what, not this time, not never, just not this time, and maybe Maybe you say not this time every time, so it ends up being not never. but if you don't tell your brain that, maybe it won't
it doesn't know the difference.
freak out. You're not just losing weight or maintaining your weight. You're building a brain that becomes more resilient to the challenge of everyday life.
Until next time, stay curious.
Keep experimenting.